Hi, everybody. Welcome to November's segment of our NeQter Town Halls. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. Um, Not a whole heck of a lot to cover for this one. We're going to do kind of a recap of the last town hall, just to kind of review the new features in the 2.16.0 update. And we will also be going over a few shows and a couple of things we have on the roadmap today. And then, of course, open it up to questions as always. I will hand things over to Pat while everyone files in so that he can give you a little bit more information on what we'll be reviewing.
Hey everyone, so yeah, we had that update last month, 216. So just wanted to rehash that and cover some of the improvements that we had, and then are going to be, I can't believe it, we're coming up to the end of the year, quickly approaching 2024. So going to review, we have a 217 update that should be coming out in the next few weeks. So we're going to dress up what that looks like and talk about, as Nick mentioned, some shows, and also just kind of see what we have in progress and open it up to Q&A. And there are a couple things that we're adding that we do want feedback on. So hopefully we'll be able to enlist some of the people on this call. So for 216, we had a couple nice and quick improvements, a couple things that enhance some areas of the tool, including, to start, this little SSP panel. Personally, I really like, now we have a 3x3 grid. We have a nice setup when you log in, where it's all even, especially with this SSP panel. This is just going to summarize where your SSPs are, kind of give you a status indicator. And if you have multiple SSPs, it will be even more valuable because you can click on each one and see a progress snapshot from the home screen when you log in. So that was something we had in 216. Another thing, and this has gotten a couple questions, so want to highlight how we're going to round out some further information with this improvement. So one of the things that we did was we took the compliance guide, which has been living in the docs.nectarlabs.com website, and we have added those responses to, upon creation of a new system security plan, whether it's NIST or CMMC, you can check this box at the bottom of that new creation to include the responses that we have for the compliance guide, is file those right into the description of implementation areas of the SSP upon creation. There is additionally an area in the additional information on each assessment objective in either NIST or CMMC that spells out the guidance as well. If you were already working on an SSP, and I know a lot of you have, you'll still be able to copy to clipboard each of those responses and list them out underneath each related assessment objective that we help to meet. So there were some questions on, hey, so NeQter says it does X. I'd like a more of a clearer picture of how it does that, or where can I find that information specifically? Because some of them, especially when it comes to auditing accountability, when it talks about your logging, your visualizing, things like that, it depends on of course, the vendors that you have and the dashboards or the alerts that you have configured. But one of the things, and I'm going to talk about this towards the end of this webinar, is we're enhancing our report section. We're completely redressing it and adding a bunch of different functionality. And one of the things that we're going to be starting to chip away at is compliance specific reports of the data that NeQter collects and aggregates and visualizes that help to meet certain areas of compliance, we're going to have a very clear-cut view in those reports of, this helps section 331, for example, or something like that. So those are one of the things that we're going to be building out to shore this up. But of course, if there's any specific questions of, hey, I need some more clarity on NeQter says it does X. Can you show me where that is or how? That's definitely a great means to reach out to, or the thing to do is to reach out to Nick, who may direct the question my way or towards support or whatever resource we have to better answer that question. So that is just one of the things that we added, and this is the compliance tab area of the tool. Some other things that we added was the ability to save and create different views in the inventory area of the hosts tool. We also added a full inventory report, and this is one of the reports that we're going to start out with in that reports area. But currently in 2.16, it is within the host inventory tool. You can download a full Excel spreadsheet. It's just going to, much like those sections are in the drop down of the inventory area, it's going to have different tabs within that Excel that has all that data in there for you. You can also, like before, download those different spreadsheets or different views that you're looking at. And then we expanded some of the data that we're pulling from Windows hosts, including TPM information. And this is an example of what that spreadsheet looks like. Lastly, we had a couple things in terms of user and company names will display exactly as they are typed. I think that was an issue with lowercase, uppercase, and how we stored the data. So that's been addressed. And then we had some enhancements or improvements with Cisco Firepower, as well as SonicWall input sources. Another thing that we had was another agent update. 2.16.0 is the latest, and those can be downloaded via the doc site, and that's going to enhance continued support with Windows 11 with those agent updates. And same thing. One of the things that it did was allow us to pull that additional information and also have some security updates for the 2.16 agent. I'm just gonna quickly get past this. Again, we have new hardware. A lot of people have adopted the new hardware that we have, which is great, but there are still some who are older users, older customers, who have the option to update to our new hardware. And I've been reviewing that for quite a few months, but still there, still as good as ever, more dynamic. So we typically we know who has older hardware, and we've been having those conversations, but just want to highlight that again. And some new things that we have. Hopefully some of you have seen this enhancement. I think it's very clever. Our guy Chris and our support team, he added this to our doc site. So when you navigate to the doc site now, on the home screen, it's going to have a what's new slideshow that's going to highlight the new areas, and it's very nice to see, visually, kind of what is changed, where it is in the tool. So I'm just going to pull that up quickly just to kind of show what that looks like. So It's right in the home screen, when you go to the docs.nectarlabs.com, you're going to be able to see a summary and a picture of what I just went over, actually, the SSPs, um, new information, visualization, um, and then the host tool. So we're going to have this for each new update. So if unfortunately, if you missed like this call, for example, or you just wanted to double check, see what was new, that's going to be covered when you navigate to the doc site. And to go back to talking about what's in progress here, coming up for the end of this year and going into 2024. So I alluded to this earlier. What is the new reports feature? So we're still fleshing that out, but there's a few things that we do know. Um, we're going to have newly formatted reports and report options. To start, we're going to have HTML and Excel, and then we'll look to expand that. Um, we're also going to be able to have customizable schedules for the reports. So if you want something to generate daily, weekly, monthly, or some things in between, we're going to have that option. You can also have the report get sent externally to you, because we have that reports function now, but that's just a very high level general report. We're going to be building that out with a lot of different information. We also have a wonderful new um, generation function that has stylized PDFs, or for example, we're looking to have executive style reports, executive style summaries. So of course, everyone on this call is in the tool every day or every week. We want it to have additional value for either management or other users who may not have the time or the need to access the tool but still need to glean data from it. That's what we're really looking to target with this tool. The nice thing as well is the data, as long as you have a report and it's generating, that data is going to be stored, and the data can always be continually generated in different reports, even as we add them later. So what that means is the data, as it is used to generate a report and get stored, it's going to be outside of the retention settings that we have for live log data. So if you're generating a monthly report that has vulnerability scan results, or generating a monthly report that's summarizing Active Directory events, for example, and you want to see and you want to go back a full year, but you only have 30 days of visualized logs, that doesn't matter. This report feature is going to allow us to maintain information differently and extract it later, and continually generate a different report. So we have a few reports that we've identified. We're going to start building them in on launch. I think we're going to have a handful of reports, but the biggest thing with this is we want input from everybody on what is useful. What would you like to see? One of the things I had mentioned was how dressing up the data to better align with proofs for a different compliance objectives is going to be exceptionally important, and one of the targets that we have for this reporting function. So, we're going to explore how we can also have that maybe in an automated fashion be added to the compliance area, or in the artifacts area of the compliance tool, but that will be later. But right now we're focused on what data can we get, how can we visualize it. If we want to visualize certain data and we're not grabbing it, can we grab it? So it's just going to be a continual expansion of the functionality of the core tool, but really allowing you to take pieces away from the platform and not having to rely on live log data or viewing. So that's what we're really targeting with this new reports tools. I'm very excited about it. It's going to help a lot of people out. So that's that piece. In terms of the everything else that we have, I had mentioned last time, MFA, so version 217, MFA support is going to be in there, email only to start. And we also are having Mac OS agents and Red Hat agents. We had a Red Hat a little bit before. We haven't had widespread adoption of that. So with Mac OS and Red Hat, we need people to install these and I test them even more because we have a limited environment to test. If you have a more dynamic Red Hat or Mac environment, we'd like to have these agents tested. So please reach out if you know who you are, with Mac or Red Hat, please reach out and let us know. And then one of the things that has been the bane of some users' existence is the auto logout function. We're going to be adding in options to change the time period for the auto logout as well as disabling if you so choose. Uh,
Pat, you also have
mhm,
a question from Kevin while you're going over
mhm,
things that you're working on.
mhm.
He was looking for any update on plans that we might still have for an active community supported plugin for OpenSearch/Elasticsearch log collecting support.
Yeah, so I actually I pulled it out of the slideshow because I had talked about it last time. But last time I had talked about um, um, with our quest to transition the platform from Elasticsearch to OpenSearch. That's still the plan. What we wanted to do was, so that's going to be a big, sort of like in March, not in how the update process went, but in terms of magnitude, it's going to be as big of an update as that the large Ubuntu update that we had for our OS. So this is going to be same orders of magnitude as that one. So we wanted to have 217 be an update to get out some enhancements that have been asked for MFA reports, things like that. So we wanted to get that out before the end of the year. So as we're working behind the scenes, one of the things we're going to be doing, just to get a little bit under the hood, is we're going to be changing how. So everything for the end user is going to look the same, but we're going to be changing the infrastructure of our agents and Logstash and making that more dynamic as a preliminary step before we shift over to OpenSearch. So OpenSearch is looking for, I don't have a definitive timeline. We're undertaking it in the next 6 months as we move into 2024. We wanted to have this update come out so that we can have minor updates and continued improvements on inputs, different ingestion, as well as new report types, things like that, as we work behind the scenes with OpenSearch. So still working on that. We're going to see what plugins we're going to be able to leverage for the community, but that's going to be after we move our platform to that new foundation of OpenSearch. Um, so yeah, I see. No, yeah, no problem, Kevin. Um, yeah, we talked about that. I think we mentioned we had a few of our devs go to the OpenSearch Con in Washington and meet some of the developers and people that make the decisions for the community plugins and stuff like that. It was very exciting for them. They brought a lot of good content back, and that's allowing us to lay the foundation for that shift. So yeah, it's big things there. But then in terms of immediately useful stuff, I think the reports as we come out with them are going to be really, really good slam dunk. Um, Nick, did we have another question? Um,
Um, Brian was noting that he has, with his team, 3 MBAs and a CentOS 7 VM that he's pushing for the vendor to retire, but I believe that was in reference to something that you had mentioned earlier in the webinar. I forwarded that on to your Slack so you can contact him after the webinar.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so with that, so the Red Hat agent is an RPM package. So we need testing on CentOS as well. We've had successful testing with Red Hat, so if we want to take a look at that, we can coordinate for sure, just to see how that will look for you. And Yeah, so that's everything that we have in progress in the immediate future. The OpenSearch stuff and also our log ingestion stuff. I'll cover a little bit more next month as we know more. And hopefully, we're looking at. I still need to iron out the 217 update. I might be presenting after it has come out, beginning of December, or it will be at the cusp of it being released. So that will be for next month's webinar. So just to wrap up the content that I have. So we had a couple upcoming shows this week. Yesterday, Rich and myself, we went up to the Main Space Conference. It was its first year that this was. It was something that I was brought awareness to at the Synidia show in Rhode Island, in Newport, Rhode Island, and this is an initiative where the government, the business development wing of the main government is looking at, because there's a lot of manufacturers and machine shops and engineering firms in Maine that um, provides a lot of stuff for existing players in space or orbital transportation, and they're looking to plant a flag and expand, potentially having Maine as a spaceport, or just if it's not launch, it's a pre-launch type stuff, just supporting getting that science accomplished, getting those products made. So very, very, very interesting. So we were there for the day up in Portland. So that will be a conference that we will repeat. And then tomorrow, myself and Levi from our team will actually be going down to DC just for the day. So I'm going to be killing myself flying in, flying back. But this is going to be for the Cyber AB Summit. They had the one last year. We weren't able to attend. This year we're going to see what all the noise is about down there. So there's the official Cyber ABs event. Maybe we'll get some insight on the proposed, or if it's a proposed or interim final rule. I know that's still stuck at OIRA, but a lot of thought leaders in the space and people in the know, or people near to the know, are estimating that we will know, and have a DFARS. They're thinking proposed final rule for CMMC sometime this month. So maybe we'll get to gain some insight on that, and we'll report back. In terms of, I just saw, I'll let you know if it's worth it. I think it's one of those where it's the ecosystem, so I think it will be less OSCs, more providers. So that's why, I'll be honest, why we're flying in, flying back, not staying over. I think the cost of the ticket is potentially worth it, but in terms of, I think that for knowledge of what is happening in industry and trends and speakers, I still think that both the CS2 conferences and, of course, a little biased, the NDAA New England Cybersecurity Conference is still the best source. But I may be, I may turn a new leaf. I might go and I'll let you know if it's really good. I'll cover that on next month's webinar. And that's all I have to share today. So that's, yeah, tomorrow, November 8th, if you're in the DC area. I don't know, maybe if you drop in or have a ticket. So if anyone's going, hope to see you there. But any other questions on the current platform? This is going to be for anything, use, any of the tools. If we need to tag in our support team or Nick, our customer success guy. Any other questions that can be answered on today's webinar?
Hey, you have a good holiday as well, Kevin. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, we have Turkey Day between now and next webinar. So yeah, we can keep this one short unless, of course, anyone has any other questions. We'll hold for a couple minutes just to make sure if you have something to type out, you type it out. Just to reiterate, these are all recorded and will get put up on our YouTube channel if you haven't subscribed. And anything that you can think of, Nick, that would be worth to mention before we close out, or anything I missed?
No, I'd just like to, reiterate that, if anybody has anything that they would want to see in our enhanced reporting feature that we're building out, any specific reports or specific types of data, please send me an email at nferda@nectarlabs.com. Um, that way we can start building that into that for you sooner rather than later. Um, Outside of that, I think I am pretty much good. Just looking forward to a nice Thanksgiving and hopefully some good football.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully we'll. Unfortunately, we've been suffering, but it's all good on the football front. But yeah, we'll look to close this out. Obviously, we're very thankful for all of you using the platform, giving us feedback, giving us things to improve on, uh, helping us to add value to the platform, and just helping us learn, giving us insight. And it's always great to see everyone in person when we can. So yeah, everyone have a great Thanksgiving. Don't overshop on Black Friday or Small Business Saturday, and we will talk to you the first week of December, first Tuesday of December. So we'll close out. Thanks everyone, and we'll catch you next time.